Okay, I think we are here. So let's give some love to filmmakers. And we are thrilled that we've got so many of you in the room. This is fantastic. Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Cronauer. I'm the Vice President of Women in Film Dallas, and here to host this Q&A with these filmmakers. I want to have them introduce themselves before we begin anything else and remind us what film it was they were connected with and in what capacity. And I just want to say, if you came in late and you missed any of these films, please, I want to encourage you to go back and watch them as part of your virtual pass because they are amazing. This is the second, for some of them, the third time I've seen these films because I was one of the preliminary screeners, and each time I view them, I discover something new that gives me stuff to chew on and think about, and sometimes be excited about and sometimes be very angry about. So I want to encourage you to do that. And of course, to come to our other Topaz offerings. So let's meet all of the filmmakers who are here. If you would introduce yourself, your name, and what film you were connected with, and in what capacity you worked on the film, that would be a fantastic start. We're going from left to right. So Danielle, you are first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Danielle Savory. I am the director and one of the writers and producers of Heard.
Thank you, Danielle. And
Thank
Zena.
you.
Hi, I'm Zena Davis-Jones. I am the writer, co-producer, and actor in Unspoken Agreements.
Thank you, Zena. And I guess it's Marwa next as we go from left to right. Marwa? I think, are you muted yet, Marwa? Can you unmute your mic, Marwa? No. All right, we're going to let Marwa work on that, and let's go up and meet Rosa. Marwa, I'll come back to you. Oh, there I see. Wait, let's see. Now, it still says you're muted. So I'm not sure. Someone says ask follower. I'm not sure how to do that. All right, so we'll go to Rosa and Marwa. If you can find the mute button in the upper right corner of your screen and you click on the microphone, you should be able to unmute yourself. And Rosa?
Hi, I'm Rosa, and I'm with Undecided, and I'm the co-producer, writer, and one of the actors in the film.
Fantastic. So great to meet you. And Marwa, have you been able to unmute yourself? I don't think I can control that. All right, so Marwa, there you are. Yes? Marwa, are you there? Marwa, can we hear you? All right, so I'm going to something that I want to read to you all before we begin a discussion and some Q&As. And we're getting some help from Mara, hopefully. All right, this is from the producers and the festival executive directors. And I'd like to read this statement. They've asked me to before we begin as a kind of a kickoff to our discussion. So here's the statement. Pardon me while I put my glasses on. The festival executive directors and programming director felt that it was vitally important to showcase the topic of body autonomy. These films were chosen and programmed during the time that Roe v. Wade was overturned by the United States Supreme Court. Our intent was to showcase the many different perspectives on a woman's right to choose what is right for her own body. While many films in our festival also showcase this, we felt these 7 films encapsulated the issues and mutilations women face in the U.S. and globally. We encourage you to stand beside women all around the world as we work together towards equal rights and freedoms for all. And this is from Alicia, Connie, Andrea, and Leisha. All right, so I wanted to kick off our conversation with that. So yes, please feel free to applaud and send applause and hearts. Well, it's slightly different way, but I think I'll begin with this. So, women, the title of this group of films is Body Autonomy, and I'm wondering if you can share with us what that means to you and how you did or didn't explore that in your film. Can we begin with that? Anyone like to go first?
I couldn't find the mute button. Oh, I was like, do we raise? Are we raising our hand, or how do we do it?
All right.
Okay. I felt I loved this block of films, by the way, and congratulations to the other filmmakers in this book. You guys did such a great job at the Topaz Film Festival of putting together such a mix of films that dealt with different body autonomy issues with women. And I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I think my film touches on it, on basically having the choice, obviously, to decide what she wants with her body when it comes to consent, from the act of, she wanted him to come into her house, but at what point, consent is an ongoing negotiation. I hope that was something that came across, that she could stop it at any time, even though she welcomed him into her home. And then at the end, it touches on the idea of, which is left or open-ended, is there a child? Was the child born? And what will be her decision if she is pregnant? It's kind of left like that. So I think that was your question.
Yes.
Was yes, how did it deal with body autonomy, correct?
So it has to do. No, just that it has to do with consent issues. And I remember reading in your statement that it got complex for you, and that you had a lot of people. You said something about your decision to make the film was tested, which I found was a very interesting word choice. So do you want to speak briefly about that, Danielle, before we move on to Zena?
Sure. You mean tested when did I say that exactly? So I know
well,
the
in your
context
director's statement. And I took it to mean that people said, are you crazy that you're making this film, and the way that you have presented it? So is that making sense? Is that a little more clear to you, Danielle?
Yeah, a lot of people wanted me to go one way or the other with it. They wanted to see what the pregnancy test said. They wanted her to say no during the attack. Like, they wanted certain things that I refused to budge on, because I felt like, from a woman's perspective, this needed to be shown what really does happen. And talking to women, it wasn't tested as much. Talking to men and people that were like, we need answers at the end, or we need like her to say no. Those were things that I really got pushback on, which really bothered me. Right. And I was like, no, we're going to do it this way. So those are probably the two biggest things I got tested on.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course,
Zena, would you like to talk a little bit about what body autonomy is to you and how you addressed it in your film?
Yes. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be a part of all these impactful, really strong films. It was very beautiful and really important to see. So thank you. So obviously, body autonomy for me is the ability to make decisions for yourself and to have safe access to whatever those decisions are. I think what's so interesting about body autonomy, and what we are often faced with, is that I don't know if it's specifically to women or it's being a human in general, but we're so conditioned to exist in community. So our body autonomy always has an impact on other people. And often our own choice is mixed in with the impact it has on other people. And I think that's what we end up facing, is like, yes, I do have a choice, but who does it impact, and how does it impact, and does that influence my choice, or should it not at all? Right. And that's kind of where my film, and obviously there's a gray area, like the content of my film is arguably less severe than some of the other contents. In this one, to decide how you want to share yourself on social media and what parts of you, it does impact your partner, and it's an ongoing conversation, and there's no clear lines on what you should be doing in a relationship, what you shouldn't be doing, how it impacts each other. So I think in terms of body autonomy, my film just addressed the intimate conversations and decisions that people can make along the way in a relationship.
I love that you started, well, near the beginning of the film with the lead character looking at her social media and how her looking at what other people are posting was affecting how she made some choices to move forward. So it was very interesting. We think we're being autonomous, and sometimes we get sucked into what everybody else is doing or what we think everybody else should be doing. So I love that. We're trying to get Marwa to type her responses because she's having some issues. So she's not here right now. So hopefully we'll get back to her in a moment. Rosa, can you talk a little bit about the issue of body autonomy and how it came up in your film?
Yes, I'd love to. So what was interesting for me, obviously I've watched my own film numerous times, but there was a line that really resonated with me differently this time. And it was towards the end when the character who knew she didn't want to be a mother said, "Whatever you decide, I'm here for you."
Right.
And with everything going on in the world and watching all of these other beautiful films, I was like, yes, that is what we need. That is what the world needs. And like Zena was saying, yes, our choices impact our community and other people, but ultimately body autonomy for me is about me seeing that other person and what they need and respecting their choice and supporting them and their choice, whatever that is. And again, it just touched me so differently watching it this time and really hearing that and feeling the impact of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I loved about your film was that you, and I wanted to ask you about the writing of it, because it so clearly depicts three very, very different thoughts, perspectives on deciding to have a child. And as someone personally who has had two children, but also has dealt with an abortion, there are times when you make this choice, or when I should speak for myself, when I made one choice because it seemed right. And there were times when I made another choice because it seemed right. And there was a third time, and it was like I felt I had no choice because immediately I got feedback from my physician that really affected my decision. And of course, once you do see that sonogram, it really impacts you. So I love that you covered all those things. I want to see if Marwa is with us. I've asked her to type her response. Marwa, are you there? Are you able to type a response about body autonomy in your film? I'm not seeing that. Alicia, Connie, I'm going back and forth with text to see what's going on. I don't.
Yeah, we're
she's
still
not.
working on it.
Okay, fine. Well,
still
maybe
working.
she will be able to join us in a little bit, because certainly Marwa is presenting a film about a subject that may be known to us, but I'm sure we're not all that familiar with that culture, that world. So I hope she can join us. Let me
We're
ask
still working
more.
on it with Marwa, so please hold tight.
Oh, you're on the phone with her?
I have asked her to type out her responses so we can at least get those to you.
Right.
And so we definitely want you guys to be able to hear what she has to say. She's joining us all the way from Egypt, so it's there's just a little bit of a distance there. So I don't know if that's what's causing the issue. So we're working very hard, but continue the conversation.
All right, fantastic. And I did direct message her, so we'll see what happens. So let me ask a more general question. So can you speak at all about a great or the greatest challenge you had in producing your film, and then perhaps also the greatest satisfaction or victory that you had in working on the film? So we look at some opposites here.
I'll go. I think my greatest challenge and my greatest victory was that I was 7 months pregnant when we filmed it. So that was both the challenge and a victory. I was literally pregnant, painting the bathroom stalls, trying to make our set look like a nice bathroom because it was not a nice bathroom. So yeah, so it was dealing with all that stuff. The production side stuff as the producer while also being pregnant was a joy and a challenge.
And you did it. So that was your huge victory. Zena, would you like to talk about that challenge, victory,
Yeah.
satisfaction?
Rosa, that's so amazing. You're a hero. That's awesome. Our greatest challenge was we shot this during the height of like the second wave of the pandemic, right when everyone was going home for Christmas. So COVID tests were like $300 a pack, and we had to do a skeleton crew, and we shot in my apartment, so the space was really small. So just make it like the fact that we all tested and we're all able to shoot every day and get the physical shooting done was probably the biggest challenge. And I think the biggest reward, aside from like completing the film, and I was explaining to some friends what the film was about. It's about someone posting a photo online and a full blown out debate over what a person should be able to do in a relationship blew up. And I just sat there watching and I was like, oh my God, this is really Undecided.
Success,
there are so
yes.
many. Yeah. So that to me made it really showed me that it's a conversation. It's a new conversation, and everyone has very strong opinions about it. And it's interesting. Yes, that was cool.
Danielle.
Hi. The biggest hurdle kind of touches on same thing you just said, which was COVID. COVID was my biggest hurdle for sure. We initially were supposed to make this right before the original shutdown. And we were ready to film, and then it was like, okay, you can't have people of less than 50 working together, and we didn't have 50, but then it went down to like, obviously we had to make the decision, like, is this something that's safe that we should do? And so we had to shut down the first production of us filming this then, and then waited a year to finally shoot it. So that was the biggest hurdle. And then when we did go to shoot it, we shot it in Los Angeles, and the restrictions were extremely strict, even when we were able to shoot it. So that was the hardest hurdle. The biggest victory was really the impact it's had. I've been to a couple festivals now, and to see the audience's reaction, and to same thing with the starting conversations about what, there are a lot of things that it brings up. And so there's a lot of conversations around the film and the impact it's made. So that's been the biggest victory for sure.
I'd like to add, I'm expecting that there'll be some questions from our audience, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep asking. I'm wondering, you made the decision at the end, Danielle, to have the pregnancy stick show up. So, I mean, it could have ended without that. So, and you said that some of your viewers wanted it, some didn't want it. So can you talk about that choice? I always think it's interesting to talk about specific choices that people make in their film. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. A lot of this short film was based on true events. So it's something that I experienced. And then for me, what my experience was is the pregnancy stick wasn't positive. But from a story standpoint, I think the question is would it be? And so for me, it was very much like, because my head was spinning, like I remember I did the first pregnancy test and I was scared shitless, just to be blunt, because I was like, am I? But it was way too early to even know. And it was really scary. And so I was hoping that it would, by not showing the result, you would realize that this is what that woman is going through right now. She's spinning the what ifs. But then also I was playing with, this multi-generational thing where would she be this mother that like she was in the beginning in the tent teaching her daughter about, consent? Or is she kind of in this black void going down all her worst case scenarios of the mother that she could be? So I was hoping that that's what I'm kind of showing, is like the different alternatives of what you go through as a woman that's experienced this and the possible outcomes. So I felt not showing the pregnancy test held more weight than showing it. Personally, I know that was what I was tested on, because a lot of people are like, they need to see, like they need to know, is this girl real? Is she not real? Did the pregnancy happen? Did it not happen? Did she have an abortion? Did she not have an abortion? And that really for me wasn't the real point of the short. The real point of the short was that this woman went through something, and this is how she's dealing with it right now.
Right.
And just the act of her getting up out of the bed is like a step in the right direction. It's not
Right.
about, we'll figure out what the pregnancy test is down the line
Right.
and what the results are and what steps she takes. But what she's going through right now is this. And I felt showing the pregnancy test took away from that as
Right.
much as people wanted to see what those results were.
Well, I do think it makes an interesting connection between the young girl that we see, but it also opens up possibilities. Does the young girl exist, or is she, as she lies there in bed, wondering about, imagining what would happen if she gives birth to that child? So
Yeah.
it, you know, which is what it became for me, that there were all these concerns, imaginings that begin to fill her head, which is more than she ever had before. So, I mean, that's kind of the way that I'm with it. I'm going to have a quick follow-up question here. Apparently our question thing's not working here. So someone had asked how long you wanted to tell this story, Danielle. And they asked about your hesitation to make the movie. And if you did, what pushed you through? What was it that pushed you through?
I think the biggest hesitation is it's scary to put something out there that you then at Q&As have to be like, this is an actual thing that happened. Like, where does it? That's scary. I mean, it's scary to kind of take that step and be like, but I think I realized through the process of writing it with Tia Napolitano, one of the writers on the show I'm on, and then casting the lead actress Jodie, I realized the conversations I was having as we've all as women experienced something similar to this. And I realized I was, especially having to wait that year from the day we were going to film it to the day we did, so many conversations came up that made me go like, oh no, I have to make this short film.
Right.
And so that really propelled me to make it. I didn't think I wanted to tell the story. I wanted this to remain private. But when I was like, okay, I need to make a short film, I want to direct, I need to start, you know, I had a lot of female mentors, and they said, write what you know. And I sat down with Tia and I kind of was just like, this is what I have to write. And she's like, then let's do it. So I was surrounded by so many amazing women that lifted me up and helped me tell this story the right way, or the way I wanted to tell it. And I was motivated by the amount of stories I've had about it.
Right. Well, what you're saying about finding female mentors, that came up in the previous set of shorts. Grad students saying my male mentors were not especially helpful to me, but when I found some women who really said, yes, tell it from your point of view, use your female gaze, and that's what really made all the difference. I see Marwa over there. I'm just going to jump. Marwa, are you able to talk to us or type with us? You can type. So if you can type, I had asked about the issue of body autonomy and what that meant to you. Can you type an answer into the chat? And then I'll read it. All right. And in the meantime, I'm going to go to Zena, I think. Let me see. I'm looking at my questions here. This is all right. So this is about your writing process, because we'd love to hear a little bit about how it is you work as a writer. I suppose that also means your collaboration with the other members of your creative team, including your actors. So can you talk a little bit about that, Zena?
Yes. So an interesting but honest part of my writing process is currently the thing that's getting me to write is if I can act in the project. If it's something that I want to be doing, I find that motivation really helps. For this particular short, I was actually writing scenes for a demo reel that I was working on. And I wrote the car scene of, hey, I posted this photo, da da da. And then my director was like, I think we can make something here. So I started looking at the world of it, and another inspiring female in my life who does not let me settle. And I just started at first, like, it definitely evolved. I saw a huge party and it was way bigger. And then as I kept on chipping away at it, I realized that I actually only cared about their relationship. I didn't care about the other people.
The other people, right.
Yeah. So they dropped away. And I think I think the biggest thing in my writing process is having someone tell you that it's not good enough yet. I kept on coming to my director with the ending, and she'd be like, "This doesn't say anything." One day I was so frustrated. Maybe I shouldn't tell this, but I will. I just yelled in my car, and I ended up losing my voice because I was so.
That was a lot of yelling.
I couldn't find the ending. So I think, yeah, that was the process for this film. I think I'm still exploring how I go about it. But yeah, I hope that answers.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's great. Actors make fantastic writers if they can get away from their acting and write. Rosa, what about you in the writing process?
Well, again, similar to Zena, I am an actor first, and I was looking to make my own project. And I actually had this idea for a few years before I actually made it, and it was just one of those unfinished scripts on my computer. And then, 2019, we're still in the Trump era, and we're starting to like feel the simmering of what is now our reality. And I was like, I gotta write something. And I went back to this script, and this was the script that spoke to me and that I really wanted to finish. So I started working on it, and then I found out I was pregnant. So while I was writing this script, I was also like very much making that personal decision for myself.
Right.
Like, what was I going to do? So I felt like I have been all three of those women. And when I originally was writing the script, I was like, I was the woman who was going to take the pregnancy test. And then once I did end up deciding to continue with the pregnancy, I was like, oh, great. I'm the pregnant woman. I don't have to wear a pregnancy suit. That's going to like save my budget. Right. So again, it very much felt like I need, like similar to Danielle, I needed to write what I know. And with what is going on in our country and across the world, it felt like this was the story that spoke to my heart the most, and that what I wanted to connect with people.
Do you have 4 children?
No, I only have 1.
I stopped at 2, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like we lost Marwa again. Alicia, Connie, are you there? Has
maybe it's about something here in Egypt, because in Instagram.
Is that Marwa? So has she texted something to us? Because it's not coming up in the chat. So do you have anything to read? You're on mute, Alicia.
Sorry, I was just going over with Marwa. So I have Marwa on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So we're going to
fantastic. All right, we can see her.
So you won't be able to see her, but you'll hear her. So let's see if it works. So Marwa, say hello. Say something, Marwa.
Hello.
Ah, there
hello,
you are,
everybody.
Marwa. Yay.
Hi.
So,
okay.
Marwa, thank you so much for being so tenacious and joining us.
Yeah, thank you for you.
I had asked a little
technical problem.
I had asked before about the whole notion of body autonomy and what it meant to you and how you explored it in your film. You have a unique story that you've told here. Can you talk with us a little bit more about your decision to make this film and the hurdles that perhaps you had to overcome to get it produced?
Yes. So let me start with the first one. Actually, at the beginning, I just listened and saw the newspapers about this problem. And when I was a child, I'm just proud that because when my mother opened these issues when we are like young, she told we have to do that. But my father told, no, you cannot do that. Because it's very, very dangerous to make this with the girls. So it was like a memory in my brain. But once I saw announcement about if you have an idea about this issue for film, documentary, or fiction, you can send UNFPA and they can help you with the producing for a movie about that. So the next day I said I cannot make anything about this issue because it's very harsh. They can't. I can't do that. But I saw like a report about a girl. She was from Upper Egypt, and she talking about how her life was destroyed because of that. And I really touched about her feelings and everything. And I saw I have to make something about that. I don't know what till now. So after 1 week, like I have a dream when I was sleeping about the idea. So I woke up and wrote it, and I sent it to UNFPA. After 1 month, they told me, congratulations, you are selected. You and your F. So it was my first script I wrote as a fiction, because my whole work was documentary. And that's how it was the beginning. And when I started to listen more and more to stories about this issue all around Egypt and the whole Africa, by the way, I really found that I have to put a real story in the voice over the film. And actually the girl, it was from Upper Egypt, and she's talking about her real story. And when I was recording this voice with her, I was like feeling my body is feeling like I want to hug her. I want to tell her, I'm so sorry about what happened to you. I'm so sorry about your future and your bad memories. And that's it. It was so long. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's great. I loved the way you layered the different experiences. The young girl, the woman on the day of her wedding, and the story that I assume is like a radio broadcast, and how all of those things intermingle, are woven together. And there were such opposing images. The young girl in her white dress with her white shoes, and very happy on the day of the actual circumcision, and contrasting that with the white dress on the day of her wedding. So I thought that was beautiful. That was a lot to take in. And I have to say that the second time I watched the film, I was much more able to appreciate how all those things came together. And I think that many of us here are very ignorant of the actual procedure and what the results of it are, aside from being such an intrusion into one's body autonomy.
Please, Alice.
Pardon?
Yeah, I can't hear the last part.
Oh, so I was saying that I think a lot of us in this part of the world are not very informed about the actual procedure. And in the film, the characters talk about the pain that never goes away. And that was really, it's not just psychological pain, but it appears to be physical pain as well. So the film taught me a lot about what that experience must be. And I was astonished at the percentages of women who experienced this. That was really startling to me. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. You're most welcome.
I'm wondering if anybody has anything they would like to ask of one of the other filmmakers. Have anything? I mean, there's such wonderfully bright and articulate women. Do you have anything you want to ask of the other women on the panel?
I just want to say great work. I loved watching every single one of your films, and I thought they were amazing, and they moved me in all sorts of ways. And I applaud you guys all. So I'm so happy to be in this group.
Is there a particular thing that each of you would like the audience to take away from the film? Because sometimes an audience will respond in its very own way. We all have opinions, as they say in your film, Zena. But is there something that you hope an audience will take away from your film?
I can jump on that. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It was so impactful and so beautiful and so important. It's just so important to have the female gaze. This really just reinforced that for me. Something that is really important for me in my film is that ultimately she tells the truth at the end. Mm-hmm. And I think regardless of the impact, we have to tell our truths, no matter how hard it is. I think working from that place is better than anything else. So with that in mind, I just want to commend everyone for how brave they were to tell these stories and just be honest about our own experiences.
I love that she had that vulnerability, that she still was keeping some things from her partner, and that she made the choice to step it up and do that. I thought that was hopeful, honorable, ethical. And if we want truth from other people, we kind of have to put that out there, don't we? Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Anyone else?
I just want to say that being in a room full of creative women is very empowering. Not just seeing your stories, but just seeing you in this virtual reality. And the main thing that I want to get across right now, at least in the US, is that there are 16 days until the midterm elections and we have to go out and vote.
Yes.
It is so important. Like, especially seeing these other films and it matters. Our vote matters, and we really, really have to stick together and support one another.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. I concur.
I think for me, it's just I sound like a broken record sometimes, but that consent is an ongoing negotiation. Like, and I think it kind of touches on what all of our films were, which was very much like communication too, like speaking up about what is important about our bodies, but also the consent is an ongoing negotiation at any step of it, at any along the way. And of course, like, you know, our body's our choice. So.
I loved in your film that when she spoke with her daughter, whether it's her real daughter or her imagined in the future daughter, that she asks permission to tickle, you know, and I went, whoa, that's great modeling. I really love that. So it's woman to woman, not only woman to man. I thought that was beautifully incorporated into it. It's not just in this situation, it's in other situations as well.
Yeah, how can we pass this on to future generations as well?
Right.
I wasn't taught consent or anything like that. I don't think I even learned about the birds and the bees. My mom unfortunately missed the memo of telling me all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I think if we can pass on the knowledge we have to the younger generation, boys and girls, I think we're going to make a huge impact.
And there were other films too that spoke about this. I'm thinking about Afloat, that it's not easy to give consent, demand consent, that you have to work at it. And sometimes you have to be very, very careful about the situations you allow yourself to get into so that you have the power to say yes or no. So, yeah.
Can I touch on too, Zena, you had said something in yours about how your decisions also affect others. And in yours, it was so simple of like, your decision to post affected your boyfriend in your relationship. But also I think we're so trained as women that saying no during sex at any point is like this weird thing that we can't do because it's going to affect them, maybe hurt their, like, it's this weird thing that I don't know why it was women. I've talked to so many women. We're so programmed to think in the middle, we can't stop or say no, because what does that say? Or am I going to hurt, not their feelings, but like, what does this mean? Are they going to hate me? Are they going to, and it's such a weird thing that I feel like if we can break that too, that like screw what they think in that moment. It's what you need and what you want, I think is really important.
Yeah. I'm getting a signal that it may be about time to wrap things up. We have another program of comedies, which everyone may need after this at 7 o'clock. And so everybody can go and grab a drink or grab something to eat. I just would like to ask, what's next for each of you, either with this film moving into festivals or having the film shown? I'm thinking that some of these films, Marwa, will be extremely controversial in your country and may not get the kind of viewing you would like. So what's next for you with this film or with an upcoming project? Can you each share a bit about that?
Yeah, can I start?
Yes, please, Marwa.
Oh, wow. Are you hearing me?
I think that may be Alicia's boyfriend and her dog. There, all right, there we go.
Okay. For me, I'm trying to submit the film in many festivals, but some of them told me we are so sorry, but it's like really all the issues, and we think it's not happening now.
Right.
But I said yes, it will now happen. So please, can you help me in supporting this girl at Africa and actually Asia and a lot of countries around the world. So I'm trying. Some of them said yes, we will consider this film because of the issue. And actually, I'm trying to have a good premiere at Egypt. I'm trying to submit it. Yes. Hopefully, also we can make like general screening at Upper Egypt to make some awareness to people. I'm trying to prepare this screening. And it was screened like the last week at Bahrain International Film Festival. It's a country near Egypt. I don't know if you listen about Bahrain. So it was good screening. And about the other projects, I'm working on my own long documentary. I started shooting like 2 years ago, and hopefully I can finish it this year. It's about an old man. He has a dream to be a director since his childhood, and now he is 17, and he wants to start this dream now.
Well, all the best with that. And you need to let us know when your film is screening so that we can support it in any way that we can and promote it. Rosa, next project or anything more with this film?
So we have a screening locally here in Chicago in the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited to share this with a hometown audience. And right now I've been working a lot on volunteering with Planned Parenthood to destigmatize abortion. Yes. So that has taken a lot of energy along with being a mom. So I'm hoping to start getting back to writing soon to see what the next project is. But in the meantime, I'm fighting the fight.
Right. And you mentioned Chicago. I just saw a film the other night called Jane, which is about the Janes in Chicago in the late 60s and 70s. And if you don't know about the Janes, these women who single-handedly made abortions available to 12,000 women, never lost a one, and they performed them themselves. So it's an interesting film. Sigourney Weaver stars in it. So thank you, Rosa. So Zena, what's next for you or the film or something else?
Yes. May I also just add one more comment about the impact and things like that?
Please.
Yeah. So just off of what Daniela was talking about, something that really resonates with me is what's best for you is what's best for everyone else. So even though we're conditioned to understand the impact, ultimately you standing in your truth and what's best for you is what will be best for everyone else. So I just wanted to
Thank you for
share
adding.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. And then so for the film, we are online in the new Filmmaker Plus Festival this coming winter. Other than that, we're waiting to hear back from other festivals. And I'm currently working on a web series that I would love to develop sometime sometime next year. Would be very cool.
Excellent. All the best with that. And Danielle, what about you?
Hi, Zena. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I'm an actress on the show Station 19, and I am lucky enough to be directing an episode this season.
Excellent.
So I'll be doing that in February. So happy to continue my directing career with an episode on the show. And then the short this is its end of its run. It's basically, I've been doing it for a year. This is nearing its end. I have been asked to work with certain organizations as a means to discuss assault and because of the short film. So we'll see if I continue down that road and what impact the short film makes. And then I'd love to find a home that it can live in and screen and be a conversation starter somewhere in the webverse. So yeah, that's my current status.
Excellent. Well, thank you all, women. This was a fantastic screening, a fantastic discussion. You'll see now that there is a Women in Film Dallas cafe there. If you can stick around and Rosa, Zena, and Danielle and speak with some of the audience members for a while, that's fantastic. If not, we understand. If you want to go to the cafe, people, and speak amongst yourselves, just click on the cafe icon and you'll go there to a magical coffee house. And the next screening is at 7:00 and they're comedies. So again, thank you all, and see you at Topaz.